This is probability and odds, lesson 4, part 2. And we're going to be looking at build your skills 6, 7, and 8. And we're going to be looking at, is the sample size appropriate for our conclusion or estimations using that probability? So Katja lives in Vancouver, BC. She conducted a survey in her math class and found that 29 out of the 30 students had brown eyes. She concluded that approximately 97% of the population of Canada has brown eyes. Is this a logical conclusion? Explain your answer. Okay, so 29 out of 30 comes out to 97%. And then she went and said, okay, well, if that happens in my class, we can say that about all of Canada. Is this logical? And this is an easy answer. No. Some of these examples we're going to look at might not be as straightforward. Okay. So that's why you're going to have to explain your answer. But for this one, a sample size of 30 from one class in one city is not appropriate for a country of 41 million. And there's a whole host of reasons why taking one class from one area is not a good sample size. First of all, it's not really that random. You could have siblings, you could have twins in one class. I mean, if you even look at our school, we've got cousins and siblings again in the same class. That's going to skew the data. They probably have the same eye color, right? Like there's a high chance of that. That's going to skew it. It's just not a good size. Okay. 7. Elections for city mayor are being held, and a polling company is conducting a telephone poll to predict the winner. The city has a population of 390,000. Out of 100 people called, 78 say they will vote for Mrs. Kwan. Is it safe to say that Miss Kwan will win the election? Explain your answer. Okay. So this one is kind of a tricky one. So if you go and there's calculators that you can use to figure out, and you can just find them on the internet, what's a good sample size to use for a population. When I looked this up, it was suggested that a sample size closer to 400 would be a better sample size statistically. Okay. But 78 out of 100 is a lot. So what I would say for this, and some people can argue with me with this one, and that's fine. That's why if you explain your answer and it's a good explanation, it can still be correct. Okay. But I would say a sample size closer to 400 would be a better choice. And I looked that up. Okay. However, 78 in favor out of 100 would suggest that she would likely win, in my opinion. Like that's a pretty high number. If the number was something like 55 out of 100, I would say, I probably couldn't say that, but 78 out of 100, that's pretty high. Okay. Now, again, is the sample size big enough? No. Is it random? Yes. Okay. So your explanation could go either way here. Number eight, a polling company did a survey to find out how much time people spend on the internet each week. The survey was conducted by telephone to home telephones, landlines. Okay. Today, there's some people that don't even have one. So the results show that people spend on average 5 hours per week on the internet. A different company comes along and says, or asks the same question, but asks the question in person rather than over the phone. And they went to the shopping mall, a community center, and a university campus. And the results showed that people spend on average 15 hours per week on the internet. That is a big difference. Give a possible reason for the discrepancy in the results. Okay, there's a lot of reasons here. So as long as you have good reasons, and this was on assignment, you're still going to get full marks. But the big one for me was that a lot of people won't participate in phone surveys. Okay. There are a lot of people out there. They're going to think it's a scam, which is likely, honestly. And they're not even going to listen to the survey. They're just going to hang up. Right. So, right there, it's not random. So, therefore, I would believe that it would not be as random as the in person. Now, you could also argue that where they went to do the survey might not be very random, right? University campus, well, you're going to get a lot of young kids, right? A community center. Again, that one, it depends what kind of community center, right? Is it for kids? Is it a seniors community center? We don't know. Shopping mall, that's probably a pretty random place. That's pretty good. Okay. But that's why we ended up with a big difference between 5 hours per week and 15 hours per week. And to be honest, the people answering the home phone are going to be older people, right? Are they going to spend as much time on the internet? Not likely. I mean, I think recent studies are showing that older people are actually spending a lot of time on their phones. But yeah, that's why you're seeing the big difference here. So that is the end of probability and odds, lesson 4, part 2. Um, you now have your assignment 4.1. And once you're all done that, you can carry on with lesson 5.